Hey gamers, today we're going to look at Diamonds Club. Let's check it out. To set up the game, you're going to put out the board like so. You're going to shuffle through these double-sided tiles, and you're going to put some out randomly there. Now, in a 3-player game, you'll put a door up there, kind of shutting that off. 2-player game, you put that off. It basically just tightens the board for you. You wouldn't put any of those slides in there. But anyway, then you'd pick from one of these 4 little areas here. Now, there's nothing really that different about them. I mean, some of their buildings are a little bit different, but that's about it. They're all the same in character, and there's no advanced side to these. But they're Sterling & Sons, Royal Diamond Inc., Sparkling Diamonds, and what I have down here, Jewels, Gems, and Company. So basically, you're going to take a player board, you're going to take your player tokens of your color and put them on each one of these advancement tracks at the very beginning there. Each player is going to start with 10 wonderful plastic coins that make a clinkety-clinky sound, and they're kind of indention there. You can kind of see these are really nice coins here. Anyway, you're also going to start with all of the player tokens of your color. There's way more than this. I think there's like 7 in the game. Of course, you're putting the 3 there, you're putting 1 here, and the other 6 or 7 you'll have with you over to the side of the board. Now, this game is basically played in 3 rounds, and the first round is one of the coolest ones. This is the kind of bidding phase, where you're kind of auctioning and buying things on the market here. And you're buying different things, like you could be buying contracts, ships, gems, whatever. So to do that, all you gotta do is place a coin on anywhere on the board. So let's say the first player goes here and they get a contract for 4. Well, then I take a token from the stack here, and there's my 4 contract, and I'd put it over in my area. Then the next player, everyone would go around. Let's say the next player says, I want this green gem shaft. So they'll take a green gem and they'll put it over in their area. Let's say the next player says, I want to buy a ship, and so they buy a ship for 5, and they just put 1 coin there and they get that ship for 5. So basically just going to go around and keep doing stuff like that. Now there's other items on the board, and I'm going to zoom in a little bit and kind of show you some of these other great items here. One is these animals here. You see a fish, a deer, and a bird. What happens when you get one of those is you're going to pick from one of these 3 animals. Doesn't matter, whichever one you want, and you're going to place them on your player board. Now, at the end of the game, these are worth 1 victory point each. However, if you have a set of all 3 on your lawn, then you will get 10 victory points. And as you see, looking down at your lawn there, the goal is to fill in all of these spots here in the not the shaded area, but in the light area, the daylight area. Now you can place these, like I said, let's say I got a fish, a little pond. I can place it anywhere here except on these. If you see, in each one of these have little markings where you have to put that specific building in there. And this is the only thing that are different about these, is 2 of them are the same and 1's different. And every board is different. Every player board is different there. So anyway, I couldn't, of course, play my little fish pond over on one of these. You have to have these 3 buildings even to qualify for in-game scoring. So eventually I have to buy those buildings, but these can go any one of these lit areas here, the day side of the areas. All right, so anyway, back to the board. That's one thing you can get. Other things you can get besides contracts and gem mines and ships is you can get upgrades to your tech. So if you see here, you could play here and go upgrade on your trees, or play here and go upgrade on your money track, or play over here and go up 1 on your tech track. These, if you played anywhere though, you would move up any one of these 3 tracks. And I'll explain what these do in a minute. Moving back up here, there's one other icon you may see is the top hats. Some of them are just 3 top hats, but if you look at some of the lower scoring ships, they give you 2 top hats, or this contract's kind of low, so it gives you 1 top hat. What does that mean? Well, every time someone plays on a top hat, their character will move up 1, 2, 3. And it's very important. You want to get to the end of this track, or as far ahead as you can, because at the end of this round, whoever is farthest up, ties are broken by the person who's on top, would receive a diamond. And these diamonds are kind of wild cards in the game, so they're really nice to have. All right, going back to the bidding though, there is one other thing to talk about. If I were to play, let's say I wanted this 3 hat. Well, because I'm orthogonally by 2 other coins, I would have to pay 2 coins to the bank in order to play there. So as you see, this is almost like a first come, first serve type of thing. So as you're starting to play coins, the board is getting full, and of course there's less and less areas to play where you're going to have to, if someone were to play there, they'd have to pay 3 other coins there as well. So it's good to be in the first of that area, and pretty soon it's going to be getting really packed and you're going to be paying a lot of coins. Now, you can pass at any time, or if you're out of coins, you have to pass, and then once everyone has passed, that ends the round. Now, a few things, like I said, whoever is foremost up on the track, with the top person being the tiebreaker, will get a diamond, but also another person will get a diamond for having the most money left over. So you may want to pass, even though you may have maybe 1 or 2 moves left. You can say, I'll go ahead and pass, and that way I'll have the most coin and I can get me a diamond as well. And again, these are wild cards in the game. So that's phase 1. After that, you go to phase 2. And in phase 2, basically what you're going to be doing is you're going to be cashing in things like contracts, ships, and gems. If you have a fair match like this, you would cash this in and get those gems. How many gems would you get? Well, it'd be the lowest of whatever these 2 are. So this is a 4, this is a 5, I would get 4 green gems. Now if this was a 2 and this was a 4, I'd get only 2 green gems because I'm only getting the lowest of what these are. And you can cash in as many of these during this next phase. So everyone's going to be cashing these in and stacking up on all the lovely different types of jewels that you can have. There's plenty. There's a whole bag full of these in the game here, so you won't run out. Anyway, so after everyone has cashed in their gems, now it's time to spend the gems. And what they can do is they go up here on this top track up here, and then they can start spending them. So what they can do is, and remember they each got these little markers here. So let's say the white player will go here and they want to get a rose garden. They'd have to pay 2 red and 1 blue, and then they could get a rose garden from the area and put it on their player board. There are rose gardens, there are fountains, there are gazebos, and there are greeneries that you can place. And of course, as you see, the icons on the area tell you what's what. And as you see, there's a spot for each player. That means white player can't come back here and do it again because they can only do it once per round. But it is important to be the first one there, because if red player were to try to play there, and let's say red player won a garden, well, they would have to pay the 2 red and the blue, but because someone else was there, they'd have to pay an additional gem, and that gem could be of any color. Now, I should also point out that what if red player has 2 reds and no blue? Well, if they had a white, they could cash this in as a wild card. So this white would count for that blue, and they would get that rose. Of course, they'd have to pay an additional gem because someone else is there. Now, over here, this means, hey, pay any 4 gems, any 4 you want, and you can get any one of these. And of course, the more people who stack here, let's say blue wants to play there next, they had to pay 4, 5, 6 gems to get something like that. So again, it gets more and more expensive the longer you wait on these. These 2 are forests. You can pay 3 here and 2 there and get a forest. You can also pay 4 here and get a forest, but that'd be kind of expensive. And forests are what the back of any of these cards are. You can just flip them over and they become forests that you can put in your little manor. And so what you're going to be doing, looking back on your player board, is you're going to be slowly filling in, and of course I would put the fountain there because there's a fountain. I'd put a greenery there because there's a greenery, and then later on maybe I put it here, and maybe I bought a forest, I put it there, and you'd be filling in your area here. And of course I got my pond that I got earlier. I couldn't put anything here, and it has to be another greenery as you see on the indentation there. But that's basically what you're doing. You're trying to fill out all your estate here. Now let me go over these 3 tracks here. The money track, as you imagine, can help you start the round with more money. The more you advance on it, the more you can start out with. So $11, $12, $13 to $14. Also at the end of the game, you would get victory points depending on where they ended. With the industry upgrades, if you have something that looks like a black gem, basically that gives you 1 additional gem on top of your contract. So going back to this example here, I would get 4 green gems plus a 5th one because I've updated my industry. Now, if you were to move up more, you'd get a diamond for every time you cash something in, or an extra gem and a diamond, or 2 diamonds, and then at the end of the game, a victory point if you maxed it out all the way. Now, with trees, this is for in-game scoring. However, where you are in trees, where you're going to multiply that number by the number of forests that you have on your board. So let's say I had 4 forests. Well, 4 times 4 would be 16, so I get 16 points at the end of the game. So this is basically for in-game scoring. And again, you would use these little brass plaques that were on the board to update your personal player board. Now, after that's done, then you're going to realign who's going to be first, second, third, and fourth. And of course, whoever went last time has the advantage up the track to be getting first next time. Everyone would take that coins. You give out however much someone would start with. You would take these up, these little strips up, shuffle them up, flip them over, and mix up the board again. You may want to mix in some of these new ones. And then you'd keep playing. Now the game keeps going on until someone has filled up all of their little areas here. After that, the round finishes. So any overage, that's what you would put in these shaded areas. And after that, everything is scored. Now, you'll be scoring things, of course, like your victory points at the end here, if you have any on the board. Of course, you'll be scoring your trees, and there are bonus cards in the game that you can score during it. You can pick these up during the game. For instance, the first person to plant 3 rose gardens gets 3 victory points, or 3 gazebos, or 3 fountains, or 3 greeneries gets 3 points. Other ones say, hey, if you can get 1 of each 4, then you'll get 5 points. The second person to do that will get 3. This one says if you can build 5 of any same building, now this is not counting forest, but 5 of any of these same buildings, you get another 5. You get 5 victory points, and the second place would get 3. Of course, you'd add all these up, and whoever has the most points wins. Final thoughts. What do I think about the game? Well, I've been looking at this game on and off for about a year, and I finally decided to get it because based off the pieces alone, I mean, look at these coins. They are so cool. The diamonds are nice, but I was pleasantly surprised on how well this game was. I love the auctioning thing, or whatever it's called, just buying and placing your disc in places where you don't want other players to be around you because you're going to be spending more money, and you don't want to do that. You want to get all the actions. I think there's also a lot of paths to victory. Sure, you can, get a lot of forest and then move the, tree track up as fast as it can, but you're putting in a lot of risk there for that gameplay. One person had a really great strategy where he was just getting all the, the fish, the aviary, the bird aviary, and the deer place, and was, knocking out 10 at a time. Or one guy, you already have to get 2 of a kind, so getting a 3 of a kind is not bad, and getting 5 of a kind is not bad, and you can actually build up points that way too, especially if you have the coin. There's one guy who was just saving up different contracts and cashing it all in to where he had tons of gems and he could buy several different things at one time. You can really start at the first round. You're not really moving or getting that much. You're barely getting, maybe a little something. But toward the end, everyone was just buying. I thought I was about to win the game, and then everyone was completing their board at the same time as me because they had so many gems they were producing at the time. Pleasantly surprised by this game. Really good game. So all that being said, should you get it? No, it's not available. It's not in print. It sucks. And I think it costs a little bit too. I got mine for a decent price, and I'm glad I got it because I think the game's just wonderful. But this is a game that needs to come back into print. If it does, you definitely need to pick it up. All right, gamers, that's all for now. Until next time, game on.